Necessary discourse. Necessary discourse. That's what I get from what's going on today on the Breakfast Club with Jess Hilarious and Lauren and DJ Envy and Charlemagne. Necessary discourse. And this is hard for, especially in our black community, necessary discourse is very hard to have. It's very hard to have, but it's very necessary now more than ever. This is a time when we have to have necessary discourse. We have to have necessary conversations that lead to resolution. From various. Everybody's got their various opinions, but we need to be able to address them. In an adult manner. Put it all on the table. Professionally. And we got to address it. One of the biggest issues I've had with culture, society, for the last several years is the inability to talk and discuss and to have dialogue and discourse, necessary discourse, adult conversation, adult conversation in a real and meaningful way. We have really, really slid so far down the slope that we're not getting nothing done, that we've become, stagnated and just stalled by our inability to have a conversation, an adult conversation, about, the issues, whatever it may be, especially when it comes to business. The necessary thing from what's going on right now is playing out right now. And I'm glad, I don't like a lot of in public conversations of this level. How you do it, though, is necessary, because what they're doing, from what I've seen so far, is demonstrating how we got to do it, in our closed door conversations. But the reality of it is we have to have these conversations. Building businesses, developing businesses. Like I say, this is for everybody, not just the black community, but especially in the black community, we have to be able to have these conversations. But, like I say, this is for everybody. This is for every adult in the United States of America, white, black, or otherwise. Necessary discourse, because I'm telling you, this is stalled to the point where, we're not getting anything done simply because we can't talk to each other. Simply because we are not adult enough or mature enough, to have an adult conversation. I've sat in a lot of conversations over the past several years with a lot of full-grown adults, no children in the room, full-grown adults that can't even contextualize a conversation at a mature enough level to even get anything done, to even get any business done, and everybody's afraid, afraid for their feelings or whatever about it. I don't know what people, I literally don't know. I mean, I'm like the only one in the rooms talking a lot of times. I'm like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? The reality of it is, necessary discourse is required. It's baked into the cake. This is life. You can't, when we come into, when we're trying to build something, when we're trying to do something, and like whatever we're doing, we have to be able to have a conversation. We have to be able to talk to one another. We have to be able to have a discourse, an adult conversation, an adult discourse about the issue at hand, whatever we're talking about, whatever we're dealing with. Right now, what they're going through on the Breakfast Club has been a long time coming. We've been watching it for over a year. Like you can see the writing on the wall. It's not even complicated. Not even hard to see what's about to happen. When it comes down to, what people are, communicating, how they're performing, how they're, professionalism, how, body language, just the whole thing. It's called life. We all see this. I'm glad that they're ever, I wish they'd had this conversation long before now. But, what they're doing is, so far from what I've seen so far today, I mean, hopefully they can keep it adult, keep it adult. But so far from what I've seen is this is a necessary, this has been a long time coming, this is about business, about business, and it's about, treating people right. But here's the thing, business and treating people right are not mutually exclusive. They're not. Let's just be honest, if doing business and treating people right was mutually exclusive, things would look a whole lot different in the world. But the reality of it is, it's not. Most business is not, fair. Most business is not treating people right. Most business is not about, taking care of everybody in the situation. No, most business in and of itself is neutral. Business, that's not one side, it's not the other. It's not this and not that. It's not business itself is just like, it's inert. It's not, you know, it's not good or bad. It's not good or bad. Now, the people that do the business, good or bad, right or wrong, what have you, but the conversation that I'm having with you today is strictly about the ability to have a conversation with people and have, communicate and to openly, let's put it on the table. These are the facts. These are, these are the terms that we're dealing with. Let's go. Now, how we're feeling about it. Okay. If our feelings are a part of the situation, let's put, let find some, find some level ground and have a conversation. Everybody's not going to always win, but here's the reality. Here's reality. In an adult conversation, what's the goal that we're seeking here? What are we looking for? Where are we trying to go here? What's the outcome that we're seeking? Let's start with we're trying to get here. Okay, cool, great. What do we need to get here? Who's on board? Are you on board or are you not on board? Let's but we got to have the conversation. So it's interesting to see, this playing out in front of us. But, that's the other part, though. When you're public figures, things are going to play out in public. Now for the rest of us who are not public figures, what I'm saying? These same said conversations need to be happening, not on camera or whatever, but they need to be happening on a continuous and in a more pronounced basis. What's happening now, though, is it's not happening. Adults are not having conversations out here. For the longest time, I thought it was just me. But nope, it's not just me. It's not a me thing at all. This is a culture thing. This is a situation. I'm like, so ain't nobody talking. Oh, okay, cool, great. So it's not me. Great. But here's the reality, though. Once I realized, years ago, it's not me. It didn't fix the problem. It just gave me perspective on okay, so I got to keep praying, gave me focus and perspective, but it didn't fix the problem. The problem has been ongoing for a while. It's been coming all the way back to and before the Great Recession. We can track it. I'm saying? For those of us that have been, old enough and been alive long enough, we can track it. So from there up until now, we can track, okay, this is where things, the communication was starting, really falling apart. And then, lo and behold, 9 years ago, boom, the bottom fell out. And and nobody knew how to talk to nobody no more. And, since then, it has created an environment where so much is not getting done. And now it's come to head on us. And so, my whole thing is as we're watching, this, let's not just focus on that. Let's focus on, as adults, we need to start having adult conversations, adult discourses on a daily basis. We got to start learning how to work together. Like I'm telling people, especially for black folks have got to start learning how to work together. We have got to start learning how to work together. There's a lot of history to the why we don't work together and why it's so hard for us to work together. But we must start working together. And this is part of it, though. Having these discourses is part of it. We got to do this right now. We got to have these conversations right now. We got to have these discourses right now. We have to engage intentionally and have these conversations right now. And it's not all, lovey-dovey and everything. But it's got to be, respectful, professional, sure, definitely, but the reality of it is we got to do it. We don't have time to keep sitting on the fence and waiting, for whatever to happen, waiting for somebody else to make a decision. We got to get, I'm talking about, you hear about the black dollar and everything. The reality of it is there's so much information that we need to understand about the black dollar that we do not understand. It's so grievous at this point that only can come from the discourse. The reality of it is we have allowed ourselves to be positioned in an economy that so severely, has, displaced us from the majority economy. Case in point, I'm going to say something, and you ain't heard this from nowhere else. I'm going to say it right now. I wasn't going to say it, but I'm going to say it right now. The reality of it is, if you took every single black dollar out of the United States of America today, tomorrow the United States of America would open up for business on time and will not miss a step. If you took every single black dollar out of the United States of America today, it would open up for business tomorrow and not miss a step. Not miss a step. Let that sink into you. When you control just a little bit of 1% of an economy, sure, we like you there, but we don't need you for this economy to function. Let that sink into you. Go check the math. You don't believe it? Okay, go check the math. Here's the thing. That's the reality. That's the reality. That's the reality. And that's the reality that the only way we can even attempt, we can go back, history happened. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. And the fact of the matter that you refuse to study it, is what, why we're in a lot of this space in the same time, in the same place. We got to study our history. We got to learn. We got to know, that's why today, today's my father's birthday. He would have been 88 years old today, 88 years old. He wrote an autobiography that tells us about the Black experience since 1937. I implore you to go ahead and pick it up. Pick up a copy. Get copies for your friends. It's an ebook. You can get it at foodbytheword.com anytime. It's download it. Download it right now. Read it right now. It's easy, cut and plain simple. But the reality of it is so many people refuse to study our history and understand, why we are where we are. Well, here's the reality. The reality of it is if you removed every black dollar from the United States of America today, America would open up tomorrow. Would not skip a beat. Would not go out of business at all. Sure, it would, be a little sluggish. The stock market will take a dip. And oh, that sucks. Whatever. But guess what? Checks would still be getting cut. Doors would still be opening. Commerce would still be happening. Trucks would still be rolling. Period. That's how minuscule, $1.43 trillion is in our United States economy, for our total GDP. That's how minuscule it is. And so the reality of it is get your minds right. Get your minds right. Because for us to be 13, 14% of the population and only hold, less, than 1% of the wealth is a problem that we must address today in order for it for us to, start to actually, regain, because here's the thing, that's 12, 13% that we need to get up in the right now. I can't almost talk it. I can't even fathom. I can't even spit it out my mouth. But conversations like they have, we got to start having them. When I'm hosting events, hey, you need to come. When other people are hosting events, you need to come. We need to get this thing together. This is, it's not just all black focus. This is, focus, everybody come. But the reality of it is the black community, we gotta get it together. We got to get together. Nobody's coming to save us. Nobody's coming to save us. And then we can't even sit and talk. We can't even show up on time. That's another thing. I'm going to touch this and then I'm going to let it go for a moment. Show up on time. If you make an appointment, show up to it. I'm tired. Now this is if you make an appointment with me or with anybody else at a time, show up. If you're not going to show up, 2-3 hours in advance notice, please, at least ways indicate that you're not going to show up. When you put your time on somebody's calendar, guess what? They set that time. They block that time out for you. When you don't show up and when you ghost or whatever, that's not cool. It's not professional. These are the conversations. I'm not going to throw you away. But the reality of it is you're not going to keep getting appointments. You're not going to be, here's the thing. Or pay, you're going to have to pay up front. Pay up front. If you paid for it and you don't come, cool, great. But don't set the appointment if you have no intention upon coming. We got to get this stuff in order. Professionalism is not all that complicated. If you can get yourself up, get in the shower, brush your teeth, put on some clothes of the day, go outside, looking halfway decent, you can show up to where you're showing up halfway, to where you said you're going to show up halfway decent. Let's just get this stuff together. But we have to have these discourses. So, today on Well, I don't know, this might be a little hot, how it comes, it's whatever, but let's have the conversation, and say, well, let's address these issues and what's going on, just thank the Breakfast Club for kind of, opening up a conversation for discourse, that we got to start having amongst ourselves. And let's get this thing together. Let's get some business done. God bless you.